Today we're going to cover how to set your dimension settings. I have an object here that I'd like to dimension and also add some notes and a title to. So how do I go about setting all the appropriate sizes and so forth in AutoCAD? Well, let's begin up here on our home ribbon, looking at the annotation panel. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set some styles. The first style I'm going to set is our text style. I'm going to make it very consistent with this course, which is Art 1113. So similar as if you were in a firm, they may have a style set up for a certain kind of font. If they like the text bold or what have you, they can create, or you can create, a specific style. We are going to create that style for our course. And you do that by clicking on this text style box. Here, I'll do that again. If you come up and click under Annotation and click on that big A right there, that allows us to access our text style. Click on that, and you can see right now the current text style is standard. We want to create that new one, so click on New. And let's name this Art 1113 and click OK. And the only thing we want to change here is our text. We don't like this strange looking font here. We're going to go with Rankin's text of just simple Arial. Let's see. Here we go, Arial. So now you can see here is the font that's going to be used in our AutoCAD drawing. Go ahead and click Apply. And up here on the text style, you can see our current text style has now been changed to Art 1113. Go ahead and close that down. So now when I add text, go ahead and click on this text here. I can title this drawing. And we'll title this all caps, floor plan. I'm going to highlight it, underline it. I'll add a text height of 12 inches. And there is our text. I'm going to center that text. And you can see it is in that Arial font that we've set. I just noticed too that I drew that text on my object layer. I need to change that. So one way I can do that is to click my title, come up and pull down and choose the appropriate layer. Hit escape to close that down, and I'm on the appropriate layer. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw some dimensions. So I'm going to change my layer to the dimension layer. I need to make all those settings. So I'll go up to Annotation again, go over here to my dimension style, and I'm going to create a new one. So come to the right hand side where it says New. I'm going to create a new style called Art 1113. Click Continue. And it opens up this dimension style box. And we're going to make a few modifications here. What's nice with AutoCAD is they have this window open here, and it shows us as we change our settings what the dimension changes are. So we'll go ahead and start. I always like to start my primary units. Here we can go to our architectural, disregard the scale factor here. We do want to unsuppress our 0 inches because we do want to see 0 inches on our dimensions. And then we're done with our primary units. You can come over here to text. And for my text style, you can bet what we're going to choose. We're going to choose Art 1113. Your text color and fill color stay the same. It's going to be by block, so whatever layer I'm on, it's going to be consistent with that. My text height needs to be 1/8 of an inch. When all else fails, go with 1/8 of an inch. Now down here, this is my text placement, where I want my text within the extension lines and on the dimension line. Vertically, I'd like to see it above. You can see the change there. And over here for my text alignment, I want to change that to aligned with the dimension line, so you can see what happened over here. So my dimensions are starting to look more as they're supposed to. If I go over to my symbols and arrows, my arrowheads need to be architectural tick for my first and second. Now my leader, I'm going to stay as a closed fill. For my arrowhead size, we like to go with 1/8 of an inch, so let's change that. And that's the only thing we need to change in this window. If we come over to lines, we just have a few more modifications to make. We have our color is by block, line type by block, line weights by block. We also want to extend our dimension line past our tick marks by 1/8 of an inch, so we need to change that. Everything else in dimension lines is good. For our extension lines, which is the lower half here, the color is by block, line types are by block, line weights by block. Do not want to suppress any extension lines, but I do want to extend past the dimension lines by 1/8 of an inch. And offset from origin a 1/16 is perfectly fine. So you can see our dimensions look the way we want them to look, but we need to make sure that they're the right height for the scale that we're printing out. So if we come over here to the fit, actually one small text placement change we need to make here first. That's when text is not in the default position, we want to place it over the dimension line with a leader. Okay, so let's click on that. But now over here to our scale factor. This is where we need to adjust the scale so that our text prints out at the appropriate height when we plot it out on the printers. You may want to use the scale factor calculator that you can find on Inside Rankin to help you calculate what this scale factor would be. The way to figure it out is you ask yourself, at what scale am I going to print this drawing? So the drawing that I have here, I would print at 1/4 inch equals 1 foot scale. So I ask myself, how many 1/4 inches does it take to make 12 inches or a foot? And the answer is 48. So if I'm going to print this drawing out at 1/4 inch equals a foot, my scale factor that I put in here is 48. Now remember, the only place I change my scale factor is under the Fit tab in my dimension style setting. We are done setting our dimension style for this drawing, so I'm going to click OK and close, and I can begin dimensioning. So to do that, I can either use the pull downs here or I can come up to my annotation tab, and I have a lot of options here for dimensions. If I just want to do linear dimensions, it's pretty easy. I'll go ahead and select this dimension here and do my first row of dimensions. Do my second row over here. And then in the front, remember we do our minor masses and major masses first, and then our overall. UCS icon, and I can simply turn it off right here and it won't be in the way of our drawing. I'm going to move my title down, so I'm going to need more room for my dimensions here. And what's nice is I can use my linear dimensions to dimension each of these masses. But I'm going to go back up to my Annotate tab here so I can do my dimensions. And I'm going to make one linear dimension. And then there's another option here called Continue. If I click on that, I can continue this dimension line and just select the additional points that I want that dimension to go to, and it puts it in a very nice strand for me. Overall dimension for this drawing right there. And then I'll add one more to the outside here. Now be careful when you're selecting your dimensions. You want to select the object. You don't want to select the endpoint of another extension line, because that'll throw your dimensions off. And that is how we dimension. Now for setting our leader settings. We'll want to go back to the Home tab, go to your annotation pull down and go next to this leader. It's a multi-leader style. Select that. Of course, we're going to make our own style, so click on New and type Art 1113. Continue. Here, the only thing we really need to change is one, the text style. The text style is going to be the Art 1113 that we set previously. And our text height needs to be 1/8 of an inch. If you go back to your leader structure, you'll see that there is a scale here. This is your scale factor of 48 that we discussed earlier. And your leader format, the arrowhead, we want to change that to 1/8 of an inch as well. And click OK. Our current multi-leader style is now our Art 1113. You can go ahead and hit close. And if I want to make a leader, I can just select it here, or once again I can go to my annotate panel and I have my leaders here. I can select on my multi-leader. So click on my multi-leader. If you look down in the command line, it says specify leader arrowhead location, and then my landing location. So I'll pick out here and I type in my text. This is my plain floor plan. Click on the outside and you'll see my 1/8 inch text. It's the same height as my dimension text, so when I print it out it'll be the appropriate 1/8 of an inch. And that's how you do your leaders. Thank you for watching.